you. Welcome everyone to Toastmasters, our second hybrid meeting since COVID-19, and I am so glad to be in the building. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I will start the meeting by asking, is there any club business, anything that we need to share with the club this evening?
We need to finish electing positions.
Yes, so hopefully we'll have a few minutes at the end to do that. So we're gonna have a little bit of a, I guess we should say, maybe a little accelerated meeting so we can spend a little time with our guests. We have two guests that were on our virtual meeting last week and now they're here with us. So I'm excited to have Bethany and Caleb in the building with us this evening. So we are going to spend a little time with them hopefully at the end. So our meeting is going to be a little accelerated. Donovan, I will turn the meeting over to you so we can quickly go over our roles.
Yes, thank you, Olivia. Folks, who's going to do the invocation and pledge? Can y'all hear me? Who's the invocation and pledge?
I can do that.
Okay. Okay, the next one is the grammarian. Who's the grammarian tonight?
I can take the role of grammarian.
The general evaluator.
Great, Josh, can you take that role for general evaluator?
I sure will.
Thank you so much. Now,
Yes,
I know we're going to have you as the timer. We have
Yes.
David as topic master. Carrie is going to be our art council. Maurice is our Toastmaster. I'm taking the role of grammarian, and I am also going to give a prepared speech. And I do not have a speech evaluator, but I don't have.
Wait, what?
And Donovan, my speech is going to be 6 to 8 minutes. I think that should
Okay.
cover all of the roles for this evening.
Okay.
All
Who's
right.
who's the evaluator for you?
I won't have an evaluator tonight.
Okay.
I think that covers all of our roles, Donovan. If so, I'm going to turn the lecture over to our Toastmaster, Maurice.
Did you do the pledge yet?
Let's please stand for the pledge. Our invocation is one of my oldest but goodies. Once the task has begun, never leave until it's done. Be it great or small, do it well or not at all. I pledge allegiance to
The flag
of
of the United States of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Toastmaster Maurice.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening, everyone. And since Donovan went over the roles, time is of the essence, we're going to go right into the program. And our first speaker for the evening is Olivia. Do you have a speech title?
Hi.
Okay. Okay, what should you do is the title of our speech. It's going to be 6 to 8 minutes in length. And I would like to introduce Olivia to come to the lecture.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, friends, and I call you family. Which makes what I'm about to discuss even more important. Tonight's topic is one of those that we'd rather not talk about. But if not now, then when? If not here, then where? It's a subject that when faced with this reality, one will only wish they were more prepared. Tonight, I present to you, what should you do if you're caught in a mass shooting situation? A mall, a grocery store, a church, an elementary school, again. Within the last few days, mass shootings in Buffalo, New York, Laguna Woods, and Uvalde, Texas, has claimed dozens of lives, shattered families and communities, and put people around the U.S. on high alert. We are all living on edge. It would be foolish to think that this could never happen to you. According to the FBI data, between the years of 2000 and 2019, 2,851 people died in 333 U.S. active shooter incidents, defined as an individual actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined and populated area. 10 minutes and 30 seconds. If I had time, I'd count the 30 seconds for you. But if we think about it, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, that's a long time. That's about how long it takes for a police, a first responder, to respond, to show up at the scene after a high priority 911 call is received. That's not after we recognize that there is a shooting or that someone is attempting to kill others in a populated area. That's not after. That's not the moment someone reaches for their phone after panicking and dial 911. That's after the call is received and help is dispatched, 10 minutes. But do you know in larger cities like Los Angeles and New York, they have full-time officers assigned to these operations, yet statistically, their response time is 20 to 30 minutes. Also, nearly 99% of the time, these critical situations are handled by regular police officers. I'll tell you in a minute why that information is so important to know. First thing you should do before you're ever in a situation is be aware. Head up, eyes open. What does that mean? These situations require situational awareness, which means you pay attention to the exits, places where you can cover, and people. When you go to a mall or to a grocery store, do you ever think to say, how would I get out of here if I had to? Even this meeting tonight, did you take time to look at the exits? This is my first time in this meeting room, but typically I would say, how would I get out of here? How would I hide? How would I cover? Second, you need to observe ways in which you can cover yourselves. Look for a cash register stand, or maybe even a podium. Look for a clothes rack or something, maybe even a large pole that you can stand behind. You need to be aware. Time is of the essence. This speech that I'm giving you is not to make you afraid, but you need to be aware. We live in a time where these things can happen, and they can happen right now, even where we are. Third thing that I want to bring to your attention is be aware of people. Do you know when it comes to workplace shootings that the average person that participates or has this mass shooting situation or causes it or creates it is someone that their coworkers knew was exhibiting some abnormal behaviors? If you see someone that starts to suddenly act a little different, maybe they become quite disheveled at times, or either they seem to be quite reserved, pay attention. Now is not the time to turn the other cheek. If you see something, say something. These people often exhibit signs long before they ever grab a gun. Shots fired! As soon as you hear this, you need to quickly remove yourself from the kill zone. That's the end. If you're in an open area, you need to make a split decision. Am I going to fight, flight, or freeze? Freeze is typically those that are caught and become casualties. You need to be thinking about these things now, because when the time comes, you have to make a split-second decision. Remember, you need to get out of the way, cover yourself until the scene is safe, or if at all possible, prepare to fight. Anything you have, like this gavel, can become a weapon, even a chair, anything that you have. If you're in a grocery store, it may even be a can of sweet peas. But if the time comes and you have to fight, you need to be thinking about what you can do to arm yourself and protect yourself. And the last thing, when you exit the building, keep your hands up. Remember, these sometimes are officers that are not trained as well as others to identify who is the assailant. You don't ever want to become the assailant in the eyes of the police officer. Keep your hands up and shout, I am unarmed. I am unarmed. These are things that you can do, because when you run out of that building and you're safe and your adrenaline is on 1 million and you're running for your life and you're trying to get away from the threat, the police officers have no idea. Are you the one causing the problem, or are you escaping the problem? Keep your hands up. Shout, I am unarmed. And then be prepared to answer those difficult questions. How many people were they? What were they wearing? What was the race, the sex, the possible age? How many people are already injured? Anybody down? Did you notice anyone dead? These are all questions that we're gonna have to answer. I am not, again, giving this to you because it is my desire to scare you, but we need to be aware. Many years ago, I worked for a facility that did not have a mass shooting, but a person walked into the facility and they asked, hey, do you know where David is? Do you know where John is? And someone said, oh yeah, I know John, sits right there. And they walked over to John and they shot him in the head. These things happen. Don't think that you could ever not be a victim. My speech is, what should you do? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Olivia. That was a very powerful speech. And at this time, we'll go into our table topics session. And our table topics master for tonight will be David.
Good evening, everyone. I'm David. I will be your table topics master for this evening. So table topics is an opportunity for us to practice impromptu speaking. If you're at work and your boss asks you a question or something, you don't have time to prepare, it's good to just have that idea of what to say or to practice doing that. That's our opportunity. And the theme for tonight's meeting is summer is approaching. Although in this room, I would think it's more like winter because it's kind of cold in here. However, that's the theme. And outside today, I would say actually summer's already here. It is a warm, hot, humid day. So first, do I have any volunteers for the first question for our table topics?
Well, I would like to say first, I didn't post it on the Easy Speak, but our word for today, and Olivia could have used it, is panacea, meaning a solution or remedy for all difficulties or diseases. The panacea for all corporate ills. So the word of the day is panacea.
And
Thank you, Maurice. We could use a panacea for mass shootings. But the word of the day is panacea, so that's good to try to use that in a sentence or any time if you have that opportunity. Do we have any volunteers? I can kind of see people. I think I see Josh's hand go up. Okay. So the first question for you, Josh, is summer is approaching. It's our theme. The first day of summer is June 21st. And on June 21st, that is the longest day of the year. We have about 14 hours of daylight. The shortest day of the year is December 21st, where we only have 10 hours. And then halfway in between the spring and fall equinoxes, we have about 12 hours of daylight. So the question is, what is your favorite time or the favorite season? Do you love the longest day of the year, or do you prefer having less sunlight? How do you feel about the amount of daylight that we have?
I think the longest day of the year is a great time for me. Definitely don't enjoy the heat quite like I used to, because certainly today has been a scorching hot day, no doubt. But yeah, definitely I enjoy the summer season and enjoy the extra sunlight that it brings, come summertime. Back to you.
Thank you, Josh. I think that's a lot of people's answer. The longest and more sunlight, the better. For me, actually, I don't like the really dark days of winter, but I love the equinoxes, the spring and the fall, halfway in between. It's my favorite time, I think. But our next question, do we have a volunteer? Anyone would like to go? Okay, Maurice has his hand up. So this relates to what Josh had just talked about with today's heat. Today was a really hot and humid day. And each summer, I've lived in Mobile all my life, and each summer when it approaches, I think, oh, how am I going to deal with this heat and humidity? So that's my question is, how do you acclimate to the summertime heat and humidity?
Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, the question was supposed to be, how do I acclimate to the summer heat? And that is an interesting question for me for a few reasons, but I will start with staying inside more than I ever have in previous years. And I know when I was a lot younger, when I would stay out hot for a long time, it wouldn't affect me as much. But now, or in recent years, I would feel the headaches of just staying out in the hot too long, bordering on heat exhaustion. So for the last several years, I just stay inside more. And then if I want to cut my grass, years ago, I used to do it all at one time, the front, the back, and all of that. But now I break it up. I may do one section or two one day, and then I may do the other section another day during the summer, or from late spring to early fall. And then just running fans, trying to keep cool inside, staying inside as much as possible. So that is a panacea for me to deal with the summer heat. And back to you, Mr. Topics Master.
Thank you, Maurice. That was a great answer. And I agree. Do we have a volunteer for another question? Would y'all like to speak tonight, our guests? If you'd like, you can come up and just speak for 1 or 2 minutes about yourself, or just anything you'd like to. And just let us know about who you are. That'd be great. It's a good chance to practice. I'm sorry, what was your name? Caleb. And then, yeah, would you like to come up, Caleb? Sure. Give it a try. Nothing to it.
about myself?
Sure, yeah, 1 or 2 minutes is fine, or anything you'd like to talk about.
Okay. Well, my name is Caleb Stratton. I am not a Mobile native. I've just recently come down here within the last year. Originally living in North Carolina, then moved to South Carolina, and then following my graduate school professor down to Mobile for research reasons. And so far, Mobile has been great, although it has been very hot. In terms of why I came down here, I'm a graduate student studying molecular biology and biotechnology. My focus is on Neisseria gonorrhea. My work is to try to find a panacea for Neisseria, although we're still a ways from that, unfortunately, because it keeps me in a job. And my specific focus is on the structure and molecular function behind antibiotic resistance for penicillin-binding proteins. So, I thought this would be a good way for me to come and learn how to talk. That uses many filler words, which I'm sure I've already said a few of, but that's a bit about me.
Thank you.
And by the way, during table topics, at 1 minute, you get the green light. At 1.5 minutes, you get the yellow light. And at 2 minutes, you get the red light.
And that's just it. It's good to try to keep speeches within, or talks within a reasonable amount of time. So it's just for practice. It's not any kind of, you don't get penalized or anything. Go over or under. It's all. So thank you, Caleb. That was really interesting. Welcome to Mobile. I find that each year I do acclimate to the heat, so it'll be okay. It's really the humidity that's the killer. As I'm sure you're aware of as of today. So would you like to go up and talk about that as well? Say a little about yourself? Great. Recently, like.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Bethany, and I am a medical student at the University of South Carolina College of Medicine. I am here for school, and I recently finished my first year a couple weeks ago. And currently, I'm on summer break, and I work as a research assistant at the Mitchell Cancer Institute. I spent my time in undergrad at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB. And currently, I am here in South Alabama. Right. So I get nervous when I go through it. Not undergrad, but graduate school. That's all I have to say.
Appreciate both of y'all coming up and speaking. It takes some courage to do that, and it's and even things like somebody was opening the door. If you heard that, that's all good practice, because in real life that sort of thing happens, and so it's good to. So at first I would just get annoyed, like, oh, I'm trying to, but then I thought, okay, I got to just go with the flow. Everything's good, but it's I think a lot of us, or most people struggle, or not struggle, but have a difficult time sometimes with public speaking. So it's great to, and that's the great thing about Toastmasters, is you can kind of practice, and if you mess up or don't, it's all good, because we're all messing up all the time. Believe me, it's good. Do we have time for another topic?
1 or 2 more.
Sure. Okay. Do we have another volunteer? Anybody? Or Gary's got her hand up. Let me see what the question is. So is a filler word, don't say so. When I was a kid, the last day of school before summer vacation, before we were out for summer, it was magical. It was like being in Disney World. Everybody, all the kids in the classroom were so excited. We were just so ready to be done with school for that year. And then summer would start and it would be so much fun. So my question is, how did you feel about the last day of school? And what did you do when you got out? And what was the first thing you did for fun that summer?
Hello, Korea. Good evening, everyone. The last day of the school right before summer. Initially, I'm from Japan. The last day of the school before the summer is July 20th. Most of the schools in Japan, last day of the school before summer, July 20th. Sometimes no, because it's cold, so short summer and a long winter break, or very, very south, it's very hot, so short summer and a long winter break. But most of the schools, the same, July 20th. The last day, it's really exciting because last day usually no classes, no study, only meeting, school assemble. In Japan, we have a lot of school assembles before summer, after summer, before winter, after winter, before spring break, after spring break. It's always a lot of school assembles. So that's the last school assembles right before summer. I was really excited. I do remember the start with the 40 days school, no school. And in Japan again, July 20th, the last day, and the last day of summer is August 31st. So about 40 days off. Long summer, 40 days. I'm really excited, and all I think is just to appreciate, need to go to school. And again, I can stay at home because usually in Japan, no AC in schools. It's very disappointing, important, be tough. And so I can stay at home under the AC. That's an exciting part of the summer. Thank you.
Very good. Can't imagine going to school till July 20th. I think we got out late May or early June.
Yeah.
And I think that was too late for us. But very good. So one more question. Do we have a volunteer? Okay, Olivia has her hand up. So, did it again. I'm a little bit rusty. Summertime is a lot of fun. And I just talked about how exciting it was to get out of school the first day of summer vacation and what we're going to do and how exciting it is. But I found as the summer dragged on, oftentimes it was really hot, and I'm a kid growing up in the 70s, so I would actually get bored. Eventually, I would just get bored to death some days, have nothing to do. So my question is, in the summertime, if you've ever been, especially as a child, very bored, what did you do to remedy it? Are you able to entertain yourself, or what did you do?
Toastmasters, friends, and all of this. My question is, what did I do in the summertime as a kid when I was bored from not being in school? And some of it I'm just not gonna, just flat out not going to admit. But I do know that my brother and I used to talk through our air conditioning vents. In the house that we had, the vents were on the floor. So I could talk to him from his room to my room. And I said, hey, boy, what are you doing here? So sometimes we talk through the air conditioning vents. And then we had those opportunities where we were mischievous. So we would go outside and knock on people's door. Sorry, I didn't remember that. But for the most part, our parents kept us really busy. During the summertime, we still had to read books and do book reports. We had math problems that we had to do. And there was always something that needed to be done in the garden. So you see, my mother loved her flowers, but she only talked to them. We were the ones that had to clean out the flower beds. So there was always something to do in the yard or something academically. We used to also go on one family vacation a year, and we would usually come back to Mobile because that's what the majority of our family was. But for the most part, I was never bored. There was always something to do. Back to you, table topics.
Ring and run and the doorbells. I've done that a few times when I was real little kid. But then one day, a neighbor, and I hadn't done it to her, but she was always being picked on. And she asked me, she said, why do people do that? Maybe I could bake them a cake or do something so they would like me. And I felt so bad. She said that. I told the other kids, it's like, don't pick on this woman. She's a good lady, let's leave her alone. So that memory. I think, are we about out of time?
Yeah, 7:25, yeah.
So I think that will conclude our table topics session for the evening, and I will turn the lecture back over to our Toastmaster, Maurice.
All right, that brings us to the third portion of our meeting, and that is the evaluation period. And our general evaluator for tonight will be Josh.
Thank you, Maurice. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. We will now hear from our speech evaluator for Olivia's speech. We've had a great meeting so far. Olivia gave invocation. Maurice, the Toastmaster for tonight, introduced Olivia. Olivia gave a very powerful speech. And now we will hear from the evaluator.
I don't have an evaluator.
Well, even though Olivia doesn't have an evaluator, I'll just give a little information about her speech. And what should you do? And that is a great question. What should you do, or what can we do? And the country, not just this year, not just the year before or the year before that, but they've been at a stalemate for many years about what to do about guns. And both sides don't want to buzz. They want their position, and they just want to stick to their position and don't want to move an inch. And that's just, I guess, the tragic thing. The shooters would just keep going, and there's no panacea in sight. And her voice was, her vocal variety and the volume of her voice was excellent, and she captured the attention of the audience, on-site and virtual. And that is my little evaluation on Olivia's speech.
Okay. Thank you, Maurice. I agree with that 100%. Now let's go to the awe counter for the evening.
Good evening again. I'm your art counter. I didn't mention earlier, art counter is to count how many times you say filler words or unnecessary words such as, well, so, unnecessary, but, and something like this. Okay. Just your short speech. 5 times one, Maurice, your short speech table topic, 0. Great. Evaluation, 0. Also great. Olivia, you did perfect. You're queen tonight. Your long speech, 0. Table topic, 0. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Myself, I didn't count. I said, I shouldn't say sorry. That's no. Even though I made a mistake, I shouldn't say sorry. That's what's your name, okay? You said 3 times. And then one thing I like to mention, because you're not from here, not mobile, here, mobile, Alabama. Yeah, it's confusing. A lot of people say mobile, but mobile. I didn't detect any, but you said also sorry. Even if we made a mistake, we shouldn't say sorry. But I do understand because a little nervous if I say sorry. I'm sorry. But other than that, you did very, very, very well. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Now on to our grammarian for the evening.
Yeah, Marion. Yes, and I just want to occupy the lectern.
That was the lecture. Good evening, everyone. I have the role this evening of grammarian. So I was listening for any misuse of the English language. Our first prepared speech was mine. I don't know if anyone else heard some. Please let me heard any misuse. Please let me know. Then we had Maurice with the table topics. None. Josh, none. Caleb, no misuse. Bethany, same with you, and also with Carrie, no misuse of the English language. I would like to say that Caleb, your speech was awesome. I noticed that you looked down at your feet and you kind of tap. That's great. It's okay because eventually that you will remember this moment because 6 months from now, I promise you won't do that. And Bethany, you got a little excited. I could tell you your nerves got the best of you. You almost trembled just a little bit while you were standing here. Remember that because 6 months from now, I promise you won't do it. One thing about Toastmasters, if you keep coming back, it's gonna work. It will work. So we're so glad to have you here and thank you all. And this is my very
Okay, now back to you, Toastmaster Maurice.
Okay, we want to get the times from Donovan.
Yes, Donovan. Let's hear from our timer, Donovan.
Yes, thank you. I'm gonna go quickly because I know that so I can so I can give you a panacea of your anxiety of getting out of the library pretty quickly. Maurice's table topics was 1 minute and 40 seconds. His evaluation time was 36 seconds. Joshua's table topics was 34 seconds. Olivia's prepared speech was 8 minutes and 35 seconds. And on table topics was 1 minute and 26 seconds. Carrie's table topic was 1 minute and 58 seconds. Bethany's was 47 seconds, but that was a good job for your first try. Caleb's was 1 minute and 20 seconds. Again, that's good for your first try as well. Thank you. Back to the evaluator.
Thank you so much, Donovan. Now, and thank you for your work tonight. And back to our Toastmaster Maurice.
All right, thank you. We don't have an educational overview tonight. I think there's an upcoming award for Wes, and I guess that can be handled next week's virtual meeting for everyone. And I don't think there's anything else before I relinquish the lectern back to the president.
Thank you, Toastmaster Maurice. And again, it has just been a delight to be here, to see all you guys' smiling faces. And I will take this time, we can stop the recording, Maurice, when you're ready. We're gonna close out officially, but for you guys that's on the virtual, don't leave yet.